Hello and welcome back to another episode of Stop Watering Dead Flowers. This is just a reminder that, as warned, today's episode is the last in the now infamous run of catastrophic tech failure episodes where the sound quality is not as good as normal. However, the episode itself is an absolute delight. We had the privilege of speaking to the First Lady of Weather in Judith Ralston. So I very much hope you enjoy the content. Thank you for bearing with us and staying patient over the last run of 3 episodes, and we hope it will be onwards and upwards from here. But please do enjoy this wonderful episode with the wonderful Judith Ralston. I play in a band in Glasgow, and we were playing a gig at SWG3. At a certain point of the set, I like to liven things up by moving, running about the stage and the audience. But this time I decided it would be really cool to climb on top of my amp and try to look, inverted commas, cool. When I stood on the amp, everything was good until I felt a wee wobble. Next thing I knew, the amp had fallen forwards and launched me to the ground onto my bass, causing a huge sound, and the room went completely silent. I managed to get up quickly and hugged the singer and whispered to her, "Was it bad?" And she gave me a horrific look of disbelief. But I'd also like to point out we managed to continue and finish the set, which I think makes the situation slightly better. That story from podcast fan Jake. Thank you very much, Jake, for listening. Thanks for sending that story in. As ever, please continue to do so. This is what this podcast is all about. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Stop Watering Dead Flowers.
Stop watering dead flowers.
I'm delighted to say our guest this week is a woman who can make even the greyest of mornings bright in Scotland. BBC Scotland's own ray of sunshine.
Aw,
Judith Ralston.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's an art form, isn't it? Turning our weather into something positive.
Oh my days.
Streak! I do try and put a positive spin on things, I must say, because you can get really bogged down with how... I mean, the weather's so changeable in Scotland, isn't it? It really is.
I think that's one of the reasons that, I mean, you're held in high regard as a cultural icon anyway, but you're able to deliver such devastating news of weather with a very bright smile, and it always feels like you're telling us we're getting good weather.
Yeah, it's funny because I'll tweet when I go in the morning, because I start at 4 if I'm on an early shift. And it'll be, let's do it, get positive, because it's, I mean, getting up at 3:15 is no fun, but you really have to turn that around into something positive, and so I'm quite used to doing that, so it's probably in the right job.
Are you aware of, like, if you know you're having to tell people there's going to be bad weather for like a few days on the trot, are you like, oh, this is grim, so I really need to turn it up, or I'm going to get people in the street being like, oh, Judith, can you not do something about this weather? And
I get that a lot, actually, but it's funny because it very rarely gets me down, because it's Mother Nature as far as I'm concerned, and I think we're actually lucky in this country when you look around the world. But see if we've got days and days. To me, the worst is gloom. You know, it gets really grey, and I find endless grey, especially in the winter. Because sometimes if I'm on an early shift, I barely see light, because I start at 4. I finish officially at 2, and I'm getting home. The kids are coming in from school. My younger kids are coming in from school, and it's getting dark. So
you don't see any daylight.
So it's literally,
Which
is why I'm up this lovely orange colour permanently. Cheer myself up in the mornings.
I get, and the weather just reflects on people's faces as well. It's grim. People look grim, don't they?
Yeah, they don't look happy. But when we've got these lovely bright winter mornings, you know, they make all the difference. It's only cold and bright. We're coming into that season.
Oh, see, look, I feel like I'm being swept away already in a little piece there.
Bit of weather forecasting. I always like every autumn. There's always one broadcast I always manage to get in. But it is the season of mist and mellow fruitfulness.
Mist and mellow fruitfulness.
John Donne, the poet. So I love throwing that in. So I've managed to do that a couple of times when you've got we've had a couple of foggy, misty mornings in places. And
that's so good to know now that anyone listening can be like, I'm going to wait, tick it off when I hear it.
We've got high pressure this weekend, so I'm going to try and throw it in. Just the season of mist and mellow fruitfulness.
That's great.
It's like that.
I didn't know that was from something, you know. If I'd heard you say it, I'd have just been like, wow, she's so poetic.
It's a John Donne poem.
That's wonderful. Wow, we're already learning.
There you go. We were taught when I was at school. And hires were hard.
Now, thinking about this podcast, I always like to ask people before we even delve into the different subjects, how are you generally at holding on to things or being able to kind of let things go? As you say there, you feel like you're quite a positive person. I feel like you might be quite good at not letting them linger, but maybe they do.
They will come back and bite me. And I do find it hard sometimes to let go. I'm getting better as I get older because you realise what is the point.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, and it'll go over and over and over and over in my head. I've got a friend who's exactly the same, so we go over and over and over and over things in our head. Yeah. But I'm learning to let that go because really there's no point, there really isn't. But you do have those moments when you remember.
I'm notoriously bad for them, and as you'll probably find out as we speak, I get guests on and it seems to trigger about another 10 memories for me that I can't. But because I'm just back from Oktoberfest as well, I feel like I've created about another 20.
Yeah, because you've got the guilt.
There's so much fear and waking up going, oh my days, why did that happen?
I remember when I used to go out drinking, I haven't really done it. I still go, but I tend to, at my age, it's less little afternoon drinking. My husband scoots me up about 7, half 7 at night. It's great. It's the perfect way to go out and have a good old drink. But that alcoholic fear thing, it's horrible, isn't it?
And it was so we knew we were probably overdoing it. We were like 5 guys in our 40s trying to kind of relive our youth. We met 25 years ago, and we're trying to go out drink hard at night, but during the day we're talking about our prostates and the length of our grass in the garden. So it's hard,
Yeah, dividing the two. There's that point when you've had a few drinks, because I'm still the same, and I'm in my 50s, where I think, I can still dance and sing, and I really feel young for about half an hour, like, giving it, whatever, I love that feeling just for half an hour, that I am a person, I'm not just a mum.
We've got, just as an aside again, but for that trip, feeling young, one of the guys on our trip, Matt, I'll just name check him, Matt Brown, he wouldn't listen to this. He threw his back out on the trip because he was brushing his teeth. It was that's how bad it gets. He's a bit older than us, and he was brushing his teeth, and he kind of gagged, and the way he went, he couldn't move.
That's
like, wow, look at us, we're young.
Young and trusting.
Anyway, well, that's good to know that there is some stuff that bite you, because that's what we want to speak about. We want to find out your haunting moments. If we try and pick out one from your childhood, where we traditionally start, what springs to mind? What comes back and lingers?
Well, there was a couple actually, but the one that really sprung to mind, ever since I was wee, I was always singing. And I was musical, played the violin. I was just destined to do something with performing, I think. Yeah. Even though, who would choose that route? But if it's in you. Do you know what I mean by that? It's in you, it's in you.
You've got the bug for it.
So I remember there was a little, any opportunity. My mother, she's so quiet as well, and there's me, Miss Shoulders. So I said, there's a wee choir in the church quite near us in that church hall, and I said, could I join you? Of course, because I'm putting shows all the time. So anyway, I was desperate to always get a part in this show, and I wasn't. Anyway, can anybody tap dance? Of course, I couldn't tap dance. And I always remember in rehearsals, and it was give my regards to Broadway, and there was me circled by girls being boys, and we were all kind of pretending we're giving a bit of America, July the 4th, and I was in the middle doing this kind of tap dancing routine with a stick and a hat, and I was literally just doing that, and I just remember looking out in the audience and realising I was out of my depth. And my mum, she had glasses, and I just remember her head going down. Because I popped up and down with these plastic Littlewood shoes on.
But that's the thing, I'm picturing you doing this, and even though you're realising you're over your head, I can just imagine that you were someone that was like, well, I'm just going to busk it anyway, I'm going to do it. I imagine people are probably like, can't she tap dance? Because she's so enthusiastic, I can't believe it.
So, I know. I just remember not knowing what to do. I was trying to remember films I'd seen, and I loved all these old musicals. So I was putting one foot there, but I just remember the thump of these. I didn't even have tap shoes. They were like wedgy plastic Littlewood shoes that my cousin had. Right. Shoes from my cousin I thought were trendy, and I'm flopping around on.
I'm picturing one of the other kids that probably could have tap danced. They just couldn't get their hand up in time.
Exactly. I can. And I remember going into the toilet after I'd nominated myself and trying to practice. I of the church hall.
It sounds like the equivalent in the acting world of actors forever saying, "Oh yeah, I can ride a horse
Yeah.
if the role requires,"
Yeah.
and then getting the part and going, "Oh, I can't ride this horse." But
And it's funny, is you get these nightmares. It's like when, having been a professional singer, recently I had a nightmare that I went on stage to sing a role, and it all goes back to the same thing. And of course, I said I could do the role. I didn't know a word of it, the music, and I'm just it's the fear, because you're right. You're kind of game for anything when you've got that performance
starting
in you.
out. When I remember my first. This is another moment, and I haven't mentioned this one yet, but another comic in the Scottish scene, Billy Kirkwood. Shout out to Billy. He offered me my first 20-minute paid slot when I'd only really done 10-minute spots, but I was so desperate and eager to be like, 20 minutes. Like, yeah, I could do it. Like, I'm sure I've got ideas. But it was really, really evident after the 10-minute mark, maybe even after 9, that my good stuff was definitely over. And when I got to about 15 minutes, I thought, I was really losing the whole audience. It was down in Irvine. I thought I could tell them this story about, and you'll like this segue into my next question. I thought I'll tell them about how sometimes I pretend I was an opera singer in the house when I was asking my mum what was for dinner. And I felt like this is a really funny memory. This was really funny when I was a kid doing it, where I would come home and be like, "Mama, what's for tea?" And she'd be like, "Mince." She's like the villain, and I'm like, "Man, Neil's mum always makes him fish fingers." And God, but see shouting fish fingers in a full operatic voice to like 150 people that just stared at me.
Difficult vowel.
A young guy.
Fish fingers.
Fish fingers! Neil's mum always makes him fish fingers! And people were just going, what is wrong with this guy? Like, there was no jokes, it was just me singing fish fingers loudly for about 4.5 minutes to try and drag myself to the 20-minute mark.
And how did it go down at the end? Did you get big?
Really bad. Really bad.
Oh.
But maybe that's because I myself was never a professional opera singer, whereas you were.
Yeah, I know, I was lucky.
I feel like a lot of people do know your musical background now as well, but for anyone that doesn't, like when I found out, I remember thinking, that's a cool thing to know about Judith Ralston, the Weather Woman, that you came from the singing background. And I seem to recall I did a tiny little gig once in a porta cabin somewhere, and you went, I've performed in that same porta cabin. I'll have to try and remember where that was. But how
in Skye or somewhere like that.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
But what was your route into singing after the tap dancing fiasco?
Well, obviously I was looking for any opportunity to perform.
Yeah.
I knew, it's funny because I started to play the violin. I just went to a normal school, we school in Edinburgh, and they tested everybody out for musical, and obviously I was always a musical background, I suppose, and started to play the violin. So I was 6 then. Wow. So we were taught just in primary school, and then any instrument I was picking up and playing. I did recorder, even did the tuba for a while. I played the oboe as well. I played the oboe up to quite a high. So I switched from violin to oboe, but I always sang. And a teacher came into school and said, "You have a fantastic," just saw this voice.
Yeah.
I remember I could imitate opera singers when I was really young. I could put on this voice and, when I was a wee girl, this wee girl would come out with this sort of sound. And my old headmistress said that I used to mimic her when she was at the piano doing the hymns, and I'd go, whoa, 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 whoa. So, but I remember going to see an opera, and I'd been to a lot of classical concerts then. My mum would take me. I wasn't from a privileged background, but my mum did love classical music. Do you know, back then, my parents were born in the 40s. They were brought up with radio, with classical music.
Yeah, that was the sounds all the time.
Yeah, and my dad, he was in the Navy, so he was very musical actually. And looking back, even though I thought he's an old git and probably actually he had a worldwide education. So I learned a lot from them both about. My mum wasn't particularly musical, but she appreciated it. So they kind of introduced me. But my mum would take me to concerts when she got some free tickets, and I finally got free tickets. But then I went with my parish priest, believe it or not, took a group of us from school to see an opera. I got tickets, and it was The Gods at the Playhouse in Edinburgh, and it was Scottish operas, La Boheme. And as soon as the curtain opened, it was almost like an epiphany moment. Right. I thought, that is me. I just saw my destiny. It really was like that. And as soon as I just knew it. I knew that's what I need. That's my fault. I knew I wanted to do music.
Yeah.
But it
When
was
you
singing. I
heard the
realised I was an opera singer. I was born to do this.
Because it is. I mean, it's a huge world, isn't it? The opera world, but it is niche. You don't hear about too many people getting into it, or so it's
It's
kind
a unique talent.
yeah.
And it's interesting because I do believe if you look at opera singers who've got these big voices, and I had a big voice, they're built quite straight. You can see it, like I've got quite a wide face. Now when I was a singer, and I was quite a lot heavier actually,
Right.
especially when I lost my voice, put on weight, I was like a machine, you know, and strong. And you see people with different types of voices, they've got different shaped faces, big heads. And,
So you could spot an opera singer
It's a
maybe in
strength
a
about
lineup.
them.
You'd be like, they probably have.
Yeah. You've got big, broad kind of rib
Right.
cages, and I've got quite a broad rib cage, so that you've got. It's really interesting. I was talking about this recently,
Yeah.
and it's quite interesting.
It's an incredible sound. I've maybe only heard one or two people that can sing operatically, and it's
Huge.
just incredible when
Yeah.
it happens.
It's
And there's a comedian, Jade Adams, who used to finish her set with a kind of an opera song, and it would just stun everyone because no one knew it was coming. And it's yeah, you wonder how humans can make that sound.
And even people who don't like opera can't fail to be impressed by the beauty or the strength of a proper operatic voice. There are some people, I won't name any names, who call themselves opera singers who have a microphone here.
Right,
you know,
right.
If when I was an opera singer, I couldn't have sung with a microphone like that. You'd have to be up there, you know.
Imposters.
Yes, I bet they don't have imposter syndrome because they're the ones earning millions and millions and millions.
So, I mean, to go from that world into the world of meteorology, how did that come about? Because then that will link us hopefully wonderfully onto picking out a moment from a career moment, either from your singing or weather or for any job you might have had.
Well, funny in singing, I think there's so many things that have gone wrong that's how I learned to ignore the things that go wrong, which has been a really good skill to have when you're on air and television,
I bet.
on live telly. I'm very good at just pulling myself out of than used to be. But I think it was only a few years ago actually that it struck me, maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, and I've been in the business a long time, that it struck me that because when I lost my voice, and I did lose my voice through working with a teacher that wrecked it very, very quickly. It was a short space of time. So my whole world absolutely collapsed because my reason, my raison d'être was to sing, to be a musician. And when I couldn't sing anymore, the loss for me was massive.
Yeah.
It sounds daft now because I've gone through losing my mum, I've lost a baby. But that probably in a lot of ways had a bigger impact.
That's
no,
true.
of course, obviously in a different way because obviously...
but something you still had to grieve because it was a
yeah,
loss.
but nobody saw it as a grief, to grieve. So, but it wasn't that long ago when I thought, God, it wasn't a waste of time because every skill I learned as a singer, you do everything from memory, you're using your voice, you're expressing a story I use in weather. And I think that's because I'm not a meteorologist, but I've learned on the job. I couldn't have studied it, but I can't quite believe how much I know now. But I really do have this memory bank of situations, weather, figures. But because I could tell a story on stage, it led me to becoming the presenter I am. Because I broke boundaries by I wasn't a meteorologist, I was the first non-meteorologist.
Right.
So I did it a different way. And I had to and it was really, it gave me a lot of comfort to think all those years hadn't been wasted. And I always say to young people, and even if I hear I've got friends whose kids are going to do drama or whatever, it's a tough gig, but they will be learning communication skills. Give me somebody that can communicate and you can teach them about weather. That's
I always say that as well now because I feel like it's quite an old-fashioned frame of thought, but I think it still does exist, that if you're trying to do like drama or band in Scotland, you're still susceptible to getting a bit of a slagging. But when I lived in America for a year, everything was so supportive, and you should do drama, you should do music because it's learning. You might not become an actor or a singer, but you'll have learned confidence, holding yourself, communication, and everyone should have to do a little bit.
And I actually think, now look at look back at what I've learned in my career, as an opera singer, and all that. I touched on like the Greek gods, Roman gods, classical. I did classical classics at school anyway, but it just opened my whole my education. I mean, one of my nicknames for a really old pal of mine, Dennis, who's a fabulous singer, and he's always away. We get together every year. But when he first came to college, he was younger. He was quite a young guy, and all the older gay men fancied him.
Right.
So I was like, "No, you're not." He's like, he was like, "Oh, these guys have been really nice." He's only 17, So anyway, so Dennis and I have this running joke. We call him Oedipus Den because I'm his mum and mine. And Oedipus, of course, fancied his mum. But you know what that means.
Yeah.
Because unless you're studying the classics.
good.
I knew it through opera.
You're like singing your own education.
Yeah, I find that because you go away and learn about a role, or go away and learn about why this story had come about. And so I found that was a great way to, rather than studying, going and doing a degree, I was learning all the time and learning about languages because we sang in different languages, and so.
That's the big thing people often say about opera, is they'll go and see things, and there's so many kind of foreign language operas that are the famous ones, but as people have told me, you don't really need to understand what's been said.
Most places have surtitles now anyway. Yeah, so you can just glance up and get the meaning of it.
Do you still like going to see them, or was it too hard once you...
Yeah, you're one of the people who said that to me actually. It took me a while to go, and even when I go now, I'm starting to go to more things now because the kids are a bit older, and I've got a really good friend who's conducting, so I like to go and see his stuff. There is that moment where I go. And I've started following a few people on social media to do with opera. So every day I'm actually opening up a page that's got some sort of opera in it, and I sit every morning when I get up for the kids, and I just have that really emotional moment, a connection with my language. It's like, and I watched some, especially the opera singers that were around when I was growing up, and my idols like Jessie Norman and. I guess Callis had long gone by then, but she was obviously just a unique singer as well. But Jessie Norman, I was watching some footage of her. She's a big black American singer. She, to me, was amazing. So I was watching her sing and listening to her the other day. I was so emotional. So anyway, and then back to the weather. Warm fronts, cold fronts.
Before we move on, can I just ask? Can you still sing in terms of non-operatically? Like, do you allow yourself to just sing around the house still, or like?
I can't sing properly, so it feels like a cop out. I always
when you can't do what you want to do as well.
I mean, I love stuff like last night I was singing in the car, "Fly Me to the," all that kind of. I love all that kind of music, but I can't sing the way
Not quite the same.
Yeah, it doesn't feel.
It's not the best analogy, but I feel like that with basketball was like the huge deal in my life, and that's why I went to America and played for Scotland. And it was so when my injuries got worse and I had to stop, I hated the idea of going back. And I've tried to go back a couple of times to kind of lower levels when I was younger.
Yeah.
I hated it. I was like, I should be playing up at this level, and when you can't do what you want to do.
Yeah, well, you totally get what I'm talking about, because people said, "Why do you want to sing in a choir?" And the only part of my voice that really works is very down here, so I'd probably sing tenor,
That's good.
But I like you. It's like it would feel weird.
Oh boy, it's heartbreaking. But
anyway.
let's try and pick out a moment then from across your very varied career. Then is there one that maybe haunts you the most from one point working somewhere that haunts you? It feels, if in my mind I'm like, it's going to be a weather one, just because I think people associate weather faux pas with the kind of Michael Fish, I said this thing and then the very opposite thing happened. But I don't know, is that...
Well, before I did weather, I read the news.
Nice.
And I was, put it this way, I was like the last call. I was kind of jack of all trades in the BBC for a few years. I did travel news, I did weather on the radio, not telly then, and read the news on TV. And I've stepped in to do it quite recently, and of course I find it's easy compared to weather, because you've got a script there, and I can think on my feet. So I stepped in recently to do it, and I couldn't believe it. It's like it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy compared to having to think on your feet, So, but back then when I was starting in television, I was wandering into the studio, eating toast, and it was like 8:20 21 or something, and somebody ran in and said, "They're coming to us now!" So I had to run and sit at the desk. And I wasn't experienced, so I wasn't used to things going wrong. And basically, my microphone was on the floor, my earpiece, I wasn't prepared, the toast was on the desk. I just made a total ARSE of myself. I was like, stood there, the camera came and I was like, "Come on!" Because I was so anxious, I couldn't speak. The First Minister of Scotland, it was so horrible. It's actually on YouTube. And the microphone was down there, so I was shouting down to the microphone. And in
Russian
between,
toast crumbs.
oh, and trying to hide the toast. And then in between, when we had the kind of pictures coming up,
Right.
there was me coming up and trying to it was terrible, and I didn't know for years that it was on YouTube. So it was news at Tonner, and you can see me getting my jacket open, and it was just one of those, I couldn't look anyone in the eye in the newsroom.
I cannot wait to go and watch that now. That was the first thing I was thinking.
News at Tonner.
You said it was on YouTube.
Yeah, so it was even before I was married. So,
wow.
And at the end, thanks very much.
Finally,
I could hardly talk. You know, when I don't know if you've ever had this, because it's happened to me on air. You know, a whole anxiety rush, and you just cannot
Once
speak.
it gets you,
Good morning, welcome to me. It was horrible.
you go all dry.
And in front of the nation. And my head's going up and down, my jacket's open close, and it was just...
It would have endeared you to the people watching.
But I remember seeing an email, because they were stuck for somebody to do the lunchtime bulletin, and it went to the head of news at the time, or the editor at the time, who actually was the one that got me into weather, and he said, "Not if we have to."
Oh, wow.
Not if we're really, really stuck together, because I was desperate to get some more experience, you know, although I didn't particularly enjoy it, you know, because it was a bit too. Because I remember being on air and going, "Good morning, the First Minister at Hollywood would." I was calling it Hollywood instead of Hollywood.
Right,
you know, I was like, "Couldn't it showbiz?" And you know, I wasn't cut out for it at all.
Just like throwing yourself into tap dancing, though. You're like, "I'll do it."
I know, exactly. And
If all else failed, you could have just snapped.
I remember doing an interview and I was like, "Emily Maitlis, so what did you think about it?" You know, I don't know what I was talking about, you know.
I feel like that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Anytime I'm asked to do breaking the news, I'm like, I don't know what.
Oh, somebody was saying to me the other day you were good on it, because I was thinking I was coming on here. So I heard Chris on it recently and he was really good.
They must have been, are they deaf? Or...
The thing is, you know, it's interesting in this business. You know, I've been around a lot in say Scotland.
Yeah.
But so many people have imposter syndrome, and they're always the best people. I noticed that because I've got it myself. Who am I to stand out, be a meteorologist? You know.
Yeah.
You know, Judith the weather. You know what I mean? I mean, John Beattie. I remember him and I having this conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, what are we doing on the radio? You know.
Bizarrely, as another aside, I remember him coming down to the Stand a day to. He was doing an interview about something going on at the Stand Comedy Club years ago, but someone had a guitar there and he picked it up and he started. I was like, "Why? Look at John Beattie just rocking out here."
He loves playing guitar.
I was stunned.
And he's like, he really gets into it.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Never looked at him the same way again.
Yeah, he's a great. You should get him on. He'll have a few details. We were on air one day, and this isn't quite, you know, things you want to forget, but it's things we could have got into a lot of trouble for. So I've not long had.
That sounds like a better title for a podcast. Things we could have got into trouble for.
When I had my twins, and this was like over 14 years ago, my husband got he works for the Met Office, but he was. He ended up going to Antarctica for 4 months to help, because he'd done it quite a number of times before, and they were really. They're kind of really desperate, and so we worked it all out with, you know, childcare and whatnot, but things kept going wrong because I was just going back to work, and I was like, "Yeah, of course you should go to Antarctica, because it would have been it's going to be your last time." So he went anyway, but John's wife came and helped me out with a bit of childcare, because she's had 3 kids, she knows what she's doing. So she'd sent me a photo it was on a big computer, so it must have been through an email. And it was a picture of these 2 wee bald heads, you know, looking at me. And it was, she'd taken it, sent it to say they're fine, they're doing okay. So I turned it round when we were in the studio to show John.
Yeah.
And you know, we were obviously on air, the newsreader was reading, and he went, "Oh, you know, that silent awe." And he said, I'll never forget this, he said, "Here's Judith now with the weather. Now she's just shown me a picture of her beautiful set of twins." very proud of them myself. So the rest of the broadcast was like this. And then he once dared me to see Jobby on air, and he'd forgotten he'd dared me. And of course I got it in, and that was us. And we came up, members coming off air, and we were like, we're going to get our Jottas, we're going to get our Jottas.
Oh, wow.
So,
That is incredible.
beautiful set of twins.
I'm quite proud of them myself.
But it was to not being able to talk, neither of us could talk, so there was like radio silence apart from us going,
Oh, people love seeing that as well. If it happens, if you see people breaking when it's, that's great fun. That is great. Well, moving on from kind of work-based stuff, and we can move into the relationship zone. And again, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It seems like you've had wonderful work relationships and stuff as well. But is there a moment from a relationship with someone that sticks in your mind?
it's a hard one, isn't it? You know, I'm not a spring chicken, so I've had a few relationships.
I always feel, even now I still feel guilty asking about this one because it always feels the most intimate, it's the most vulnerable, because you're like, well, this did happen, but they're often the funniest as well.
The funniest. I was trying to think about that one, because you obviously, they're embarrassing. As in boyfriend and girlfriend relationship.
It can be, yeah.
Or friendship. I find that one really hard. I find that hard to think about, because obviously we're talking last century here. And that's the last time I had a snog.
Let's look more generally though, because I was curious when you said your husband works for the Met. So that was kind of weather. There was weather related meetings. Is there kind of is there? I mean, there wouldn't have been apps, but it sounds like, was there like weather people meetups? It's like we're all in the weather world.
Oh, you see, so it's like swipe. I think we do all that. I mean,
sunshine, cloud, sunshine,
what's it called again? Weather dating apps, isn't it? And you swipe.
Tinder and
See,
stuff.
I'm really curious to have a look at that. Obviously, I would be, because I've not. This didn't happen in my. We went out to bars and met people, or a lot of people meet through work, don't they? I suppose I met through work, because my husband was he briefing me on the. I find it really funny with my husband, because he's very good at what he does. He's been doing it all his life, and he's had some great gigs. He's done Wimbledon. He's done all the high profile weather stuff, and he loves it still. But I remember when we used to. We hadn't met because he'd been in Antarctica, so he didn't know I was on telly. Obviously, he stalked me, but he didn't know I was on telly, and. He started taking the briefings because he'd been moved up to Aberdeen, sent up to Aberdeen to work because he was stuck. And he'd phone up and he'd go, hello, my office. He said, like James Bond. And I was like, all right. And then we'd have a chat, and he said his interest peaked up, and I went, so you're telling me that wind's going to be whipping up the Clyde then? He was like that, Googling me. So,
wow.
But he puts on his James Bond voice at work. He doesn't talk like that at home. I was like, I thought you were going to bring that home, babe.
The James Bond voice, wow.
Oh, madams, because it's really a work voice. And that became a joke, so he would text me 007 here, but just, and of course in my head I was doing 007 voice. Yeah, and he always called me Moneypenny. It wasn't Pussy Galore or anything like that. It was Moneypenny. Says a lot, doesn't it?
What's it? You reminded me saying two things there that remind me of an old the Sean Connery joke about what's Sean Connery's favourite time to watch Wimbledon? Tennis.
Tennis. I like that one.
Sean the Tech just shaking his head, going, "Oh no."
Who's your favourite Bond? There's still room for you to do. You're young enough.
Sean, I don't think so now.
Oh, come on, Chris. Distinct, but you've still got to grow into your looks.
Do you think? I'm losing my hair now. Going grey. I don't know if there's room for Bond.
Oh, I don't know. We need another Scottish Bond, don't we?
Yeah, there's a couple of good Scottish contenders right now.
Are there?
I would say wee Jack Loudon. People have touted him as a potential.
I like a good Bond. I quite like Daniel Craig.
I thought he was good.
I
did like Sean Connery.
I did as well, yeah. I like Sean Connery as well. Him, and I like Daniel Craig. I don't often find men attractive on the telly. I mean, I put it this way, my biggest crush has been Austin Powers, and we're talking Austin Powers, not Mike Myers.
Wow.
you know, so, you know, but I do think Daniel Craig's very attractive.
Yeah.
And I always say to my husband, he looks like him.
Right, he holds himself.
It's so funny. He goes, oh, I can see this thinking, yeah, you're right, babe.
It's the wee noises you're giving that your husband does.
I go, feeling around the room. Talking like this.
Do you know, although you didn't have a particular relationship story or regret, the fact that you've just told me that you fancied Austin Powers, I'm going to chalk that up into that category.
I do. Well, I honestly, I think, see, at the end of the day, someone that makes me laugh is, and you know the funniest thing is, my husband and I have such different senses of humour.
Yeah.
He doesn't get my humour at all. He goes, So we've got 3 kids. 2 of them, we're like that, meeting each other, laugh all the time.
Yeah.
And then there's one who's like my husband, who's like that.
That's good. Look at, yeah. You've split them
Because
up between you.
I've got a son who's a teenager and he's got a little moustache going on, and stuff going, it's a good moustache. And I'm kind of taking the mickey and he's got that. Proud of it. You know?
Good on him.
So you're going to have to shave soon. He's like that. You know, whereas I'm taking the mickey and he doesn't get it. You know, my daughter's laughing her head off.
That's funny, you can see the direct lineage
Yeah,
from
it's
either mum
so
or dad.
funny. Whereas my daughter and my other son, we are so similar. In fact, I really annoy my eldest son because he thinks I do all this physical. I didn't even know I did physical comedy, but I annoy him. But he laughs like I'm pretending to row a boat behind the couch, and he's getting really annoyed because he can't read his book or watch blimmin', YouTube. I'm giving it Venice and we open in Venice.
I think you are physically funny.
Do you think so?
Even just sitting, you're very animated, and I guess the performer and stuff, it's still there. And I guess that's why you like Austin Powers as well.
I loved it. I loved it, and all the Burt Bacharach stuff in the 60s, and the only thing that disappointed me was Liz Hurley. I just thought, it should have been me, really. Should have been me.
Oh my days, these are great. I feel like the nation is getting to know Judith.
Austin Powers, I loved it. And I used to send my son, bless him, every Halloween.
You dress him
His Muppets Austin Powers. Frilly blouse and glasses and a little velvet jacket. That used to be mine. And they go, oh, behave. And so,
oh dear.
yeah, Austin Powers.
Wow, that's a revelation.
Yeah, I do like Mike Myers as well. I think he's, I liked his, what was the one, the Scottish one? I Married an Axe Murder.
Oh yes,
That was good too.
He was good. There was a bit of poetry going on in that,
Yeah,
wasn't
you stole my heart. It was like that.
I read it.
Yeah.
I read it.
Yeah, but is it beat poetry or something?
Yeah. What is that? Yeah, beatnik poetry or something.
Are there really people that kind of hang out and think that's serious? I don't know if I just said the wrong thing.
No.
No, are there?
Yeah, I can't, other than that film, I don't think I've ever seen it properly.
There will be somewhere, won't there?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah, and we're telling you right now, you should be ashamed of yourself.
that kind of poetry.
If that's your passion.
Well, like John Donne, Mr.
Oh,
Mellifluent.
We're all going to be listening for it now. We'll know. Oh, wow. Well, listen, thank you for sharing your wonderful Dead Flowers stories with me, Judith. Lovely to have you on. Have you got other stuff coming up now? You and Grado have been doing all sorts of adventures. Are we set to see you guys back in the screens?
Well, as things stand, it's not been recommissioned this year, but we're hoping it might come back next year.
Yeah.
It was really good fun, actually.
It looked great fun.
Yeah, I'd never done anything like that, so it was a big learning curve for me to know how to I mean, actually, to be honest, what we had to do was be ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's what there were some really funny moments. They didn't actually, it's the funniest moments, like me crashing the car and then going down a ditch, or because the cameras are on us the whole time, or when we were waiting for these birds of prey to come out. We had a whole afternoon, we had to sit and wait, and I'd broken my ankle, so I was not the best of. I was tired. I was sort of broken it on when we were filming. So this is our very last day of filming. We're sitting waiting for these birds of prey. Hour 1, hour 2, and there was a couple next to us. So it's kind of keep you could watch.
Right.
A couple next to us started to argue, and Greg was nudging me, going. Of course, we started laughing because I was laughing so hard. All you could hear was. And you just going, oh my god! Judith, the weather's just farted! And then he let off as well. It was, I'm saying it did happen, but it was very unladylike. I had no control because I was laughing so hard and I was vulnerable with my ankle. But it was very funny. And of course the cameraman's laughing. And another camera with us. Well, it was one of those, luckily they didn't.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
But there's loads of stuff like that would work up. Actually the funniest bits.
We used to think that Scott Squad, because similarly they were filming you all the time and just trying to catch what you came up with. And
that was incredible, Scott Squad, because I did it once, but I could not believe how you guys just run with it and ad lib.
Oh, yeah.
What a skill!
I don't know. Again, similar, we were always like, what are we doing? But you just had to do it.
I could not believe it, because I did one scene once, and
That's right.
I remember standing there going, what do I do? And I realised I just had to react the way I would react.
Yeah.
But it was the way you guys just run with the story, and it was very, very clever. And the way you all go into character, just to slip into character, I find that really, it's talent and a skill.
Oof.
It was very clever.
Well, thank you. Well, we hope to see you guys return. I think it's a great series, good fun, and of course we'll continue to see you on our screens. And that's really it. I can't think of anything else to
Thanks for having me.
plug or say. No, thank you.
Can I just say I'm a big fan of your work?
Oh, listen, hashtag blessed. No, it's an honour. It really is. It's so funny. It's an honour to have you on here. Thank you, and a big thank you I always say as ever to the Stand Comedy Club in Glasgow where we record, Sean Stables for sound and video, Chris Thorburn who's the editor, and another big shout out to our continued guest sponsor, Don't Feed the Bears. I'm wearing one of their t-shirts again today. This one, for those listening, has a bear, as is tradition, and he is a tree. He's a bear tree. He had a raccoon, a koala, a badger, a squirrel.
That's impressive.
These are all bear-themed apparel that you can get from Don't Feed the Bears. And remember that if you're a listener to this podcast, you can get 10% off with the discount code DEAD10. That's DEAD10. As ever, please like, share, subscribe, all the things you're supposed to do with podcasts. But in the meantime, thanks for listening. And thanks to Judith.
Thank you.